Hello friends, my name is Marcia, and this is Midwest Murders. Two California teenagers out for a carefree day at the mall vanished without a trace. A mystery for over 3 decades, the cold case baffled authorities and haunted families until a chilling discovery made 80 miles from their home cracked the case wide open 36 years later. This is the story of Kerry Graham and Francine Marie Trimble. In 1978, Forestville, California, a small community in central Sonoma County about 60 miles north of San Francisco, was undergoing a time of significant social change, influenced by the counterculture movement of the 1960s. The town was seeing an influx of individuals and families who were part of this movement, bringing with them alternative lifestyles and interest in organic farming. The wine industry was growing, and efforts to protect the environment saw increased awareness and actions toward preserving the area's natural landscapes. It was against this backdrop that 2 teenage girls would vanish without a trace 9 days before Christmas. Kerry Graham, age 15, and Francine Trimble, age 14, were next-door neighbors and inseparable friends, having known one another since elementary school. On Saturday, December 16, 1978, Kerry told her mother that she was going to the Cottingtown Mall in Santa Rosa, some 14 miles away, to shop for Christmas gifts with Francine. How the girls planned to get to the mall is unknown, but it is speculated that they intended to hitchhike, which would not be unusual for the time and something the girls regularly did. When her daughter had not returned by the following day, originally thinking that she had run away, Francine's mother reported her missing to someone who worked at the county's juvenile facility. It wouldn't be until Christmas Eve that Kerry's family, also assuming she had run away, reported her missing. Investigators believed Kerry had arrived at Francine's home on December 16th. No other member of Francine's family had been in the home at the time, and that the 2 girls were likely together at the time of their disappearance later that day. Concluding that the most likely explanation for the girls' disappearance was that they were runaways, police could not completely discount the family's theory that their daughters may have been the victims of foul play. Stating that neither girl had taken any personal possessions, makeup was found arranged on a dresser in Francine's bedroom as if the girls were in the process of using it, and Kerry had recently had her appendix removed and was still physically recovering, the families were concerned that the girls were abducted from the Trimble residence prior to leaving for the mall. As no signs of a struggle were noted within the Trimble household, it was assumed that had this been the case, the 2 girls would have either known their abductor or been taken from the residence at gunpoint. It appears police did only a cursory investigation. There was no media coverage, and friends, classmates, and school personnel were not questioned or even told the girls were missing. This, too, was not unusual at the time, as it was generally believed runaways would return home or call within a few days. 7 months later, on the afternoon of July 8, 1979, following a minor argument within the car, 2 tourists heading to Fort Bragg stopped their vehicle on private land near the Jackson Demonstration State Forest alongside Highway 20 in Mendocino County, approximately 12 miles west of Willits. Leaving the vehicle to take a brief walk, one of the individuals saw a human skull protruding from a shallow grave in the brush, midway down the embankment toward James Creek, a short distance from the road. Leaving a can of soda at the side of the road to mark the location, the pair drove to the city of Willits, where they reported their discovery to police. Responding to the scene, Mendocino County Sheriff's deputies, with assistance from the FBI, extensively searched the area in and around James Creek, finding numerous skeletal remains of 2 individuals. Both victims had been bound with duct tape and concealed within plastic before being buried in a shallow grave. Sections of duct tape, hair, and numerous bones were scattered in the vicinity of the grave, indicating the bodies had been disturbed by animals. Investigators would subsequently conclude the 2 victims had been murdered elsewhere and their bodies later buried at the scene of their discovery. No clothing was present with either set of remains, although a solitary shell earring depicting a bird was discovered at the scene. Following a 2-day search of the crime scene, the remains were sent to the coroner's office to undergo a thorough forensic examination. The initial autopsies conducted upon the remains revealed little accurate forensic information about the victims, beyond the fact that they had been approximately 14 years of age, likely of Caucasian race, and that the 2 victims had likely been murdered on or about December 8, 1978. The coroner was unable to determine whether the victims were male or female, but after further examining the remains with the assistance of a forensic pathologist, declared one victim male and the other female. In the end, the two were given the name Jane and John Doe by detectives. The initial autopsy reports also erroneously concluded the two victims may have been related, stating there was a high probability the two were brother and sister. The coroner could not determine cause of death. However, the lack of any evident trauma could not exclude the possibility that each victim had been strangled to death. The case went cold almost immediately. No teenage couples had been reported missing in Mendocino County, and investigators, unable to identify the victims or their killer, placed the remains in a cement crypt in the Russian River Cemetery in the city of Ukiah for safekeeping. By 1985, the remains recovered from James Creek had been unidentified for 6 long years. In a desperate bid for answers, all evidence was resubmitted to the FBI for further testing. Despite these efforts, the case remained stubbornly cold for the next 15 years. Forensic artists crafted clay facial reconstructions of the victims, offering a haunting glimpse of how they may have appeared in life. These reconstructions were created using 3-dimensional photographs of the victims' skulls. Still believed to be a male and a female, these images were released to the public in early 2000. Also in 2000, a meticulous re-examination of dental records revealed significant dissimilarities, suggesting the victims were not biologically related. This was confirmed by mitochondrial DNA analysis in 2001. Despite these findings, speculation persisted that they might have had a romantic relationship. With no missing persons reports in California from late 78 or early 79 that matched the physical characteristics of the pair, police theorized that the victims might have hitchhiked to California, potentially from the Midwest, and could have been runaways. In 2011, their skeletal remains were exhumed to extract DNA for modern analysis. The following year, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released updated, enhanced digital renderings of their faces. These images, crafted with the help of a forensic anthropologist, provided a more accurate depiction of the victims and narrowed their ages to between 13 and 15 years old at the time of their death. However, the anthropologist did not dispute the original 1980 conclusion that one victim was male. Further DNA testing in 2014 revealed that the remains believed to be male were actually female. Renewed attention to the case in 2015 prompted a sibling of Kerry Graham to contact authorities, suspecting one of the victims might be her missing sister, who she reported was known to have been with Francine. DNA samples were obtained from family members of both girls. As a result, 36 years after their murders, the two victims discovered alongside Highway 20 in Mendocino County on July 8, 1979, were formally identified as Kerry Graham and Francine Marie Trimble. In a February 2016 press conference, law enforcement admitted they had never connected the girls' disappearance with the remains found along Highway 20, having initially believed the victims were a young boy and a young girl. Following the press conference, the remains of Kerry Graham and Francine Trimble were released to the surviving members of their family. With the girls positively identified, investigators are now eager to uncover the truth behind their deaths. It remains unclear if Kerry and Francine had hitchhiked to the Cottingtown Mall, reached their destination, or even really intended to visit the mall at all. A former classmate revealed that before their disappearance, the girls had hitchhiked to a party in Santa Rosa, suggesting that they knew someone there, and that hitchhiking often began at a local Chevron gas station. As the investigation continues, these details might hold the key to unraveling the mystery of their final journey. While some may criticize the investigation, it is important to remember that the resources at hand today for investigating cases of missing children did not exist in the 1970s, and authorities often took less extensive measures for children thought to be runaways. The identification of Kerry Graham and Francine Marie Trimble brought a long-awaited closure to a tragic mystery that had spanned over 3 decades. While their story is one of heartache and unanswered questions, it also stands as a testament to the perseverance of law enforcement, the advances in forensic science, and the unyielding hope of their families and community. As investigators continue to piece together the details of Kerry and Francine's final days, we are reminded of the importance of remembering and honoring the lives lost. Each new lead and each piece of evidence brings us closer to the truth and justice for these two young girls whose lives were tragically cut short. If you have any information that could help in this ongoing investigation, please contact the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office tip line at 707-234-2100. That small bit of information could be the key to solving this case and bringing peace to the families who have waited so long for answers. If you have any thoughts, theories, or comments about the murders of Kerry Graham and Francine Trimble, please share them in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and may the truth reveal itself in the shadows.